Hello YouTube, and we're back. This video about the Minnesota fraud is something I've been working on for the last few days. To be honest, I kind of wanted to see where people went with it, because, and I just wanted to see where Midas and Brian Tyler Cohen and Beasley and several others came out with it, where they jumped on the Minnesota fraud case with Tim Walz. And I kind of have my answer, and that is they haven't addressed it whatsoever, not even a little bit. I think Dean Withers brought it up in one of his conversations with, one of his debate me bro kind of conversations, a live stream, and he just kind of said, it's been under investigation for 5 years. Oh boy. So I knew, and I did that because I watched the video about 2 or 3 days ago. I knew the minute I saw it on my feed that this was going to be an absolute fucking shitstorm. And it is. I'm starting to see it everywhere. I've also seen the little CNN explainer on what this is. And now, as of about 9 hours ago, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security are doing a surge to Minnesota to go door to door to find the fraud. Okay, they've reacted faster to this than they have to mass shootings. Let's be clear on that. They've reacted to this faster than they have to mass shootings. It's no secret that they want scalps. So, and Tim Walz would be a great one, right? I mean, this is now. I can hear everyone thinking right now that you know where I'm going, but I'm just going to pull the plug in the suspense. This video was fucking awful. This video was disgusting. I'm so angry over what this video showed. And despite like DHS and FBI going there, and the video was highly angering to me, because fraud on this level, I don't care. I mean, maybe let's, for argument's sake, say that somehow there is some benign, innocent explanation for this. I highly doubt that, but let's say somehow there is. The appearance is still so awful that I have a hard time seeing how people should keep their jobs. Frankly, they should be trying to avoid prosecution. Because from what I saw in that video, it's pretty obvious there's no children there. It's pretty obvious that none of those healthcare clinics were really trying to help anyone get a ride to a doctor's office or set up rates or regular service, shuttle service. And that is absolutely fucking awful. And the CNN explainer article about the audits and everything else, yes, I totally get it. And that's the guy that was giving him the information, surely the information, I think his name was David. He had a stack of folders, and they just showed some of the paperwork that related to legislation and regulations on if government employees suspect fraud and what Walz is obligated to do. They didn't show any of the audit forms. Now, these businesses must be audited unannounced once a year. New businesses must be audited 4 times a year. So there should be an audit trail going on. So now someone is in deep shit, because unless they can provide those audit forms, and those audit forms match up to what the business actually is, again, someone is in deep shit. Because I do not believe that the audit forms are going to clear these businesses. And I get it. I like Tim Walz. I liked him in the election. I think he came up with one of the only attack lines that seemed to work against Trump and Trump land and MAGA, and that is that they're insufferably weird. And they are. These people are not normal. I have no other way to put it. It's just these are not serious people doing serious things. They're just not. All you have to do is take a look at the Oval Office and see that. All you have to do is to look at the walk of presidents and the plaques under there and what they say, and you'll see that this is not a serious group of people. They might be dangerous, but they're not serious. So I'm saying this as someone who personally I liked Tim Walz. This happened under his watch. Extreme accountability, extreme ownership. You are the governor. This is not the first time. This is not the first time something like this has come up under your watch, no less. And accountability needs to take place. What that accountability is not for me to say. I don't know what the laws in the state of Minnesota are. I don't know if there's an impeachment. I don't know if the legislature can do something. I don't know if it's a law enforcement action or ultimately who needs to take the fall. But I will say this right now, based on this video, and I have no reason to believe it's been juiced, it's been edited, altered. It does seem to be what it is. Then Walz should probably consider stepping aside, or he needs to take extreme action, and I do mean extreme action, to fix this, because the downstream effects of this fraud are awful, and that's not even anything anybody is talking about. I mean, let's be clear of what this fraud entailed. Child daycare, adult daycare, and non-emergency shuttle trips and rides. Okay, so who is impacted with that? These are Medicaid programs. Child care is obvious. If you're on Medicaid and you need daycare for your children, then chances are you are one of the many in this country that are the working poor. You qualify for Medicaid, but you have a job, maybe two. And daycare and childcare is essential for you to put food on the table. And because of this fraud, how many families, that I think the cost on this is almost uncounted. And it's almost uncountable. How many families had to stretch the dollar? How many families went without food to pay for daycare because they couldn't get their children into one of these daycare centers? How many? God forbid, what if any went homeless over this? That's just one thing. Now, almost as bad, and it's something we don't talk much about in our society, but I have personally witnessed when, as a youth, or in my younger days, working with several women who had adult mentally handicapped children, and they were their primary caregiver. Adult daycare affects the mentally handicapped that can't necessarily be left by themselves. And the caregiver there is usually on more of the senior side or the elderly side. And it's not great. It's just not great. It's not a great system, but it's what we got. You know, the parents normally take care of the mentally handicapped child until they no longer can. And then that adult child goes into some form of group home or something like that. But this adult daycare is essential. It is essential for them to be able to continue working to provide. And that was taken away. That was stolen from them, frankly. And now, just as bad is the non-emergency transport. So let's understand what that is. Seniors who or adults with handicaps or other medical issues that do not have a family member or do not have a friend that can take them to their doctor's appointments or medical, like therapy or dialysis or any type of medical appointment or treatment that you might need. That's what this transport was to do, is to take these people who have limited mobility, limited means, can't drive, don't have anybody else to take them, and take them to their medical appointments. And that was stolen from them. This is fucking awful on so many levels. And just to be clear, there should be extreme accountability on this. And I'm not going to whitewash it. I'm not going to be like CNN and say, oh, these are alleged or anything else. I saw the video. You can spin it all you want. You can ignore it. You can shove it aside. But I knew as soon as I saw it, this was going to be a shitstorm. And so I just want to make it very clear that we have to be better than this. We have to demand better. It is a moral imperative. These funds were provided to take care of people that need help. And it was stolen nefariously from these people. And I can't think of anything that is a bigger violation of the public trust than that. Because it's the local and state governments that impact our lives the most. You don't get that zoning approval, if you don't get that grant, if you don't get that, those all come from state and municipal governments. It's not DC that impacts our lives the most. It's right here, right where you live. And that's why I say this has happened several times under your watch, Tim Walz. You're the governor. These are your departments. These are your people. Hello. This should have been fixed. The first fraud and abuse should have been fixed when it was the housing. And I know, I've known this for years. The housing thing is not just Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's also all the way out in Benton. And yeah, if you know, you know. Long story. But yeah, fire codes ignored. Housing codes ignored. This is not a new thing in Minnesota. So some accountability needs to take place. Period. I'm just throwing it out there. Now, nobody can repair them. Nobody can restore the money that's been taken. Nobody can even count the people who didn't get help that needed it. But, and now there's not really a but. It's period dot. There needs to be accountability. Now, to everyone who is outraged over whatever your political affiliation, if you're upset about this, then I absolutely expect you to be upset over the corruption, fraud, waste, and abuse that is coming out of the Trump administration. That's it. It's not a hard ask. It's to be consistent in your beliefs. If you're upset about this, you got to be upset about the other, because they go hand in hand. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of like with the Epstein files. If Bill Clinton's in them, throw him in jail. If Walz knew about this waste and fraud or didn't effectively, stamp it out or do anything about it and knew about it, throw him in jail. Accountability is accountability. Fraud is fraud. Corruption is corruption. And public officials, corrupt public officials, there's no greater violation, in my mind, of the Constitution or the public trust than corrupt public officials. So that's all I have to say about Minnesota. It is awful. It's a tragedy. It's a terrible situation. And there needs to be accountability, ownership, and accountability. And maybe, just maybe, somehow we can restore the public trust in government because it's fraying rapidly on both sides right now. Good night, YouTube.